Hey gang, Uncle Todd here. And we're looking at episode 3 of Fall of the House of Usher. I do have some clarification about my last video. I got some names wrong. There's a lot of names in this. It's hard to keep track of everybody. But the person I was referring to as Morella was actually Camille. Morella is actually Frederick's wife. I was also incorrect in thinking that she had left the rave before the toxic chemicals dropped on everyone. I went back and looked because of what happens in this episode, and she didn't actually leave. I thought she had, so my apologies for getting that wrong. We open with Pim using some political juice of the Ushers to be allowed to be in the crime scene before anyone else gets in there, much to the frustration of the police and emergency workers and all that. And he is told not to touch anything, which of course he ignores. He goes in, grabs some stuff off of Perry's body, notices the cameras, and discovers Morella isn't dead. So he goes out and tells him there's a survivor. Cut to the hospital, and everybody is like trying to figure out, oh my god, what happened? Da, 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 da. And Morella is being operated on and wrapped in all the things you do to a burn victim who's had severe burns and lost their flesh, basically. And Camille, in a meeting with the family, comes up with a way to spin it. They have a lot of charities, so they're going to make Perry the face of a couple of those charities to show that that's what he was actually doing with his time, and imply obviously he was just there because it was a rave with a lot of people at it. There's a lot of porn people there, and there were also some criminal elements there, and they're not going to actually say they gave the rave, but well, you make your own conclusion on that. They're going to have a big media blitzkrieg and all this and garner a lot of sympathy. Meanwhile, which one is she? Did I forget her name again? Oh, this is frustrating. I did. Gotta go back to the IBM page. I hate when I do this. Thought I wrote it down. Victorine. She's the one doing the heart transplant machine thingy. And Camille has been looking into it, thinking she's faking her numbers, and she's having her assistants, Toby and Tina, who she also uses as sexual toys, basically, to look into it. Now, Victorine is wanting to start human trials, even though the animal trials are negative, because she's got to show something. And Verna shows up as this distraught woman at her girlfriend's clinic, at Victorine's girlfriend's clinic, because she's a heart surgeon, with just the right kind of heart problems that'd be perfect for a human trial. This episode is going to be around murder in Rue Morgues, but the person I thought it was going to be hitting on was not that person. Meanwhile, Pim has been able to download and then scrub the cameras at the rave, and they've gone through all the pictures, and although they don't get a picture of her face, they do get a picture of Verna in her Red Death outfit. And from reactions, Roderick already can figure out who it is. Then we get over to Leo, who has a big party. And we're getting some foreshadowing here because they have a black cat. It's actually his lover Julius's cat. And the next morning, Leo has discovered at some point in his stupor of drugs and alcohol, he has killed that cat. So he gets rid of the body, scrubs up everything, and just tells Julius when he wakes up, cat must have got out when everyone was leaving. But don't worry, he's done this before. Well, how long was he gone last time? 3 days. Well, he might be back sooner. So we got a pretty good idea what he's planning. Then, Camille, who has been hitting the rounds of TV shows and everything, getting other family members to make statements, is exhausted, and she's having a crappy day dealing with all these things. And then is told by Toby, and Tina they don't want to be her playthings anymore. They've fallen in love, and they're still willing to be her assistants, just not in the bedroom. Well, she scoffs at that. That love, that's just a chemical reaction in the brain. It doesn't mean anything. Venmos them some severance pay, and then has the audacity to ask what they found out about Victorine. To which Toby replies, "Go find out for yourself. We don't work for you." Good man. So, Camille goes to the lab, where Verna is the new night watch person, and tells her, "You really shouldn't be here." To which Camille, as is her usual style, berates the night guard, threatens to fire them, and gets let into the lab. And as she's looking around and taking pictures on her phone of the different animals and what's been done to them, one of the cages behind her opens, and you see a very simian paw in the shot. And then Verna's in the room, asking her why she hates her sister so much. And Verna starts talking to her, and she's got these weird kind of ape-like movements. And at one point she tells Camille, "You really shouldn't be here. I had planned to make it peaceful while you were in your sleep, but you chose it this way." To which Camille again scoffs and raises her camera to snap a picture of Verna, and on the screen we see it's actually a very large chimp. The next morning, two of the assistants come in. Strange. There's no guard on duty. They go into the lab. It is awash in blood. And then they find Camille's ravaged, ripped apart body. Again, very gory. And that chimp sitting next to her. Now, before you say anything, a chimp? Yes, a chimp. If you only think of chimps like Lancelot Link or Cheetah from the Tarzan movies or any of that stuff, chimps are one of the most aggressive primates there is. There are always stories of a chimp being kept as a pet, and when they hit a certain age, they get more aggressive and attacking their owners and doing massive damage. They are much stronger than people, more agile, and very dangerous. They're cute, but they can be very dangerous. So yeah, I buy that the chimp ripped her apart. Really good episode. Love the fake out. I was so sure it was going to be Victorine who would be the victim, but apparently Verna has something much more devious planned for her. And we know Leo is going to go through the Black Cat post story. That's pretty obvious. Very good episode. There's some interesting cutaways to Roderick and Dupin, where Roderick is seeing Verna pop up around him more and more, which is kind of freaking out Dupin from his weird reactions. And at one point she's behind him, touching Roderick, and he can feel it. He knows she's there. I gotta tell you, Bruce Greenwood is stealing this show. He is just so good in this. Turns out he was kind of responsible for the toxic waste being in those water tanks on the roof. They were really toxic. They were planning to try and get rid of them when no one was looking, but just before they were planning to knock the building down so they could sneak away with those and dispose of them somewhere else, Perry had to throw the party there. In fact, the chemicals were already eating through the tanks and the tanks wouldn't have lasted more than a few days. Bad luck, I guess. Or was it Verna? Well, please hit like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you for episode 4.